What do you think about Georgia, Texas, big homie?
I can't wait for it. Being there last time in Austin for that one, being in College Station last week, really, people are mad because Texas didn't score a lot of points last week. I thought they thoroughly dominated the game. It was super impressive. Talking to coaches there, they were dying to break out the deck of cards they have with Arch Manning under center. I think if that's a whole deck of cards, they only peeled back about four of them. There's got to be some throws in there, you would think, after it was
Oh
all
yeah.
runs last week. And then talking to a bunch of people around Texas about the Georgia game, round one was they thought Kirby did an unbelievable job of being unconventional when he brought pressure or brought different types of defensive strategies than he normally does, and that really shook up Texas. You saw them, turn the ball over, not sustain drives, and not have any consistency and no rhythm, and that was all because of what Georgia did. They brought the fight. Now, what's really confusing, and I know people don't want to bring this game up, but I thought Georgia Tech last week would, I put Buster up there with Sark with all the pre-snap stuff he does, right? And it's super eye candy that really makes you think, second guess. And Georgia just berated Texas with all that stuff. And then last week you saw Georgia be a little hesitant defensively. So I think getting to see Texas firsthand and at their place obviously helps Georgia's defense. The issue I have is Texas's defense is real, man. They are improved a lot like Georgia. What makes me love them? Super fast, ton of speed, but they tackle in space. And in these big time games, it's broken tackles or a third down and short that breaks a tackle. Look at Michigan last week against Ohio State. That run. Those are the things you can't have. But as far as Georgia and Texas, I put up them on the top of the country as far as when it comes to tackling in space.
First three games with Beck, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The next 6 games for Beck, 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The last 3, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So of late, the last 3 games, he's really dialed in the turnover bug. They've been able to make plays. The receiving core has made more catches. They're still dropping balls. I think that's still going to continue to be a thing for Georgia receivers. Colby Young, a chance to come back, what could be a huge deal for this offense for the playoffs.
Not for this game, but for the playoffs.
Not for this game, for the playoffs. But I think Beck now I feel like is a little bit more dialed in, and I'm not surprised by it now, Brent, because here's what happens, and this is just an interesting thing. Like, I remember my sophomore year, Brent, like, I broke the sack record, so I naturally thought coming back, like, my goal should be to shatter the record and to do more damage and to continue to climb. Well, Jonathan Sullivan left, and my production left with him. Like, the double teams came, and it got harder. And when you see Beck and losing McConkey and Bowers and all those catches in the NFL and all those yards and all those touchdowns, his number 1 and number 2 goals, Brent, were to win a Heisman and to be a first-round draft pick. And honestly, I think when those get lifted off of your shoulders, I think your next goal is to win a natty. And I think you can play more free. And I think Beck is playing more free because of that. And I think more inclined to let it rip, more inclined to run, not slide. Like, I've seen a lot of things from him that I've seen is very different.
Since the completion to Dominic Lovett that was a free play against Tennessee when they were struggling. By the way, he started 3 of 10 for 14 yards in that game against Tennessee. Since that play, and then the subsequent, like the run afterward where he got hit and he's given the first down sign, got kind of jacked up. It's 75% completion if you count the drops. 924 yards in the 11 touchdowns you mentioned. We talked about yesterday or last night who might be the Flacco, who might go on that run and a QB that just lifts the team. He's kind of on that run. Now, granted, UMass is in there in the schedule. Don't forget that. But he's kind of on that run right now, at least. And if that continues starting in this game and continues on to the playoff, it makes a big difference. But, all right, so Texas's defense, I've got basically they're still awesome.
They're ridiculous.
Less than 14 points in 9 to 12 games. And then the big difference, though, is Georgia's defense and how they've defended the run over the last month.
Yeah.
Not been good.
Yeah, and you're not playing a mobile quarterback, which I think is a big difference with this offense. Where you had that with Tech, you had that with UMass, but Texas, man, like really good, really solid, and they don't do a lot, man. If you turn on the tape, they don't do a lot of things that are going to confuse you. They don't blitz a lot. They don't play a lot of man. But they play in the back end with really good zone eyes, like really good zone eyes. And they read route concepts really well, and they break on the football really well. But I'll say this, and it's kind of hard to say this because the first time around they had Beck's number pretty good. Beck really struggles with pressure. And so I think Beck could have some success, but I think this is a low-scoring game. And
I think it's first and 20.
I agree with that. My score prediction's 24-21. And I went back and forth, and I think Texas has the momentum from losing the first time, where Georgia had the momentum from being talked about and having the loss. And I was thinking Texas, and I was thinking Georgia, thinking Texas, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a home crowd for Georgia, and I think Georgia finds a way to beat Texas for the second time. I think it's 24-21 UGA.